In 1997, the Ballisodare Fishery Company carried out an extensive angling improvement program on the Owenmore River. And we're looking here at some still prints of the area prior to development. It is of course the area downstream from the butt where the river enters the bay. This shot shows the fish pass side or the hatchery side, and there is no angling access or indeed no angling. And the purpose of our development here will be to build an angling access wall from the fish pass down to the hatchery. And of course it is hoped by building this wall it will also help to confine the flow to one single center channel. Because if we look at the area prior to development, we find that the water is very fragmented indeed. And indeed, if we look at this print, we'll see that the water is escaping into the left hand side there, and there is no center channel as such. So the purpose of our development at this side will be to build a retaining wall. And of course it is hoped that this wall will succeed in holding the water on a center channel, thereby creating a greater surge down into the bay. And it's hoped of course that this stronger flow or this surge will actually entice fish to leave the bay and enter the system. This is a very brave development indeed, and the Ballisodare Angling Club deserve to be congratulated. They must be of course the first club in the country to actually take over a fishery and develop it themselves. They of course must also be the first club that have taken a net fishery off a river. Already we can see that the wall has created a single channel, and here we see the wall is being built and good progress is being made. On the outside of the wall there in the main channel, already we can see a nice fast flowing flow regime. This wall was built fine and wide so as to sustain adverse weather or flood conditions. Now this is the wall from another angle, and notice how the water has been confined to that center channel, and on the left hand side we see there is no escapement of water. And even in this print we can see there's a stronger surge out into the bay. We can also see that on the right hand side that the angling wall has also commenced. Here we see a weir being installed, and the purpose of this weir will be to back water up to the inlet of the fish pass. And of course the reason for this is to back more water up onto the inlet to encourage fish to actually run the fish pass, because it's vital for this fishery that fish do not hold in this area. And here we see another print of that weir, and notice the nice ripply effect it gives the water, and of course this type of water is ideal for salmon angling or indeed fly fishing. Here's another print of that excellent flow, and we can see that already the angling access wall has almost reached the fish pass. Here's another look at that weir and the angling wall on the other side, and notice how the water now has a lovely strong flow volume and a nice ripply effect down along the channel, and of course as I said, ideal fly water. I find that when people are employed on a river like John and Peter, they become completely engrossed and committed to what they're doing. And indeed, I found John and Peter to be very capable indeed, and to be very committed to the actual development. And I think it's the river itself that inspires people, whether it be anglers or indeed whether it be people who work on the river. But it has that strange magnetic power, as if it directs you what to do and you want to do what's best. And look at this excellent flow, and Peter is completely dedicated to this job, and of course John also. I found that John, indeed, you didn't have to ask him or tell him, he knew exactly what to do. And notice there when Peter put the bucket down, the depth, and of course ideal pool for fishing. Here we get another look at that, and there is a fine depth of water, so it should indeed hold fish if they come up out of the bay, and it should be an excellent angling area. Indeed, there's no reason at all why this stretch of water shouldn't compete with other established or renowned fisheries. And here's a nice shot showing the flow running down into the bay and the angling and retaining wall. That height across the middle there, that was a height we built for giving the machines access over and back to the angling wall. And here's a nice shot of the angling wall on the fish pass side.
Across the balls again. All right. You understand me then? I do.
Peter is now selecting some large boulders for John to place in the weir. And not repeating myself too much, I would have to say once more that this weir is vital, because the intention of this weir is to back water up to the fish pass itself, thereby giving fish greater cover to actually enter the fish pass and run the system. Because it is vital for this fishery that fish do not hold too long in the butt area. Because if they do, they become holding fish and are not taking fish, so they are of no benefit to even the anglers in this particular stretch. Here we see John is placing some very large boulders indeed, and this weir should stand up to heavy floods and should need very little maintenance. But again, look at this excellent flow of water.
The bar side on the pier beyond. He said you can turn the bucket round. I guess so. And have it scooping that way. And he'll place a lot of the big stone along the pillar beyond. All right. And along the bank. Now, John.
Yes, Mick. What do you think of our weir?
You must be proud of your weir.
As I said to Ozzy, I want a lifetime membership in this
Exactly.
fishing club.
And we'll
you fully agree with me, Mick.
We're going to
and we have it on videotape now.
And we're going to call it John's weir.
John's weir. And this is Peter's angler's wall.
Peter's wall.
And here we see Peter building the bottom weir. Now this weir is also very important for this development, because this weir will slow the water down and help hold the water on the pool. It will also need some maintenance over the years, because this area is quite deep indeed. And it's actually just where the bay comes in to meet the river, so the bottom is quite soft. Some of these boulders may shift in high water, so it will need annual maintenance. And we're looking here at some still prints of an area just upstream of the butt, and this area is a nice little stretch that could also be developed into a nice angling area. The bushes on the right hand side there need to be cleared away, as would an access path along the left hand bank and a back clearance to allow for fly fishing. It would of course also be necessary to widen the channel and place some weirs to hold the water on a nice little series of pools. It would of course also be necessary to build a guide wall or spur wall to direct more water into this channel, because on a fishery like this, where there is some rather exposed shallows, it's a good idea to poach water, so to speak, from the main channel into the area which is being developed. This extra water, of course, will also give better cover for fish and easier access over the shallows. But again, a nice little area for development in maybe phase 2 of the development of Ballisodare Fishery. It might be a good idea to consider the renovation of the old fish pass to give fish easier access up through this section of river. It would of course also be necessary to build a guide wall or spur wall further out into the main channel to guide extra water into the old fish pass, and it should be considered. As I said, it might give fish easier access. And this is an area at the back of the Dunmave Hotel and just downstream of Ballisodare Bridge. And it is also a nice little area that could be developed into a prime angling pool. It would be necessary, of course, to build the weir shown here on the drawing, and that weir would help to hold water on the pool. It will also back water upstream to the bridge, thereby covering the shallows and giving fish easier access up through the system. The pool, of course, would also need to be deepened with a machine. And the angling wall shown here, well, that wall would take the angler out far enough from the Dunmave Hotel so as to give clear access for fly fishing. Now, the reason the weir is lower on the right hand side is to create a nice angling stream for fly fishing or indeed any other kind of salmon fishing. The stronger flow on the right hand side would also entice fish out of the head race pool and up into this angling pool and then up the system. So it is a nice area and could be developed into a nice angling pool.